Good morning, students. Today we will study in animal husbandry the following three important. Number one, the poultry farming. Number two, fish production, and number three, beekeeping. We well know that in this chapter we have seen so far that how the resources of the foods will be increased, how the resources of the food materials for the human being improved. And in this regard, we have seen the agriculture practices, that is the crop, how the crop and their yield, their quality will be improved. And thereafter we have came to the animal husbandry, and in the last week we have already seen that under the animal husbandry there are rearing, breeding, caring and the other management aspects of the cattle, the poultry and the fish production and the beekeeping, all are included under the animal husbandry. So we have in the last week already completed the cattle farming. Today we will study about the poultry farming. मुर्गा पालन, मछली पालन और मधुमक्खियों के पालन का काम, जहाँ से हमें हनी मिलता है. तो पोल्ट्री फार्मिंग में केवल वो चिकन नहीं आते हैं जिसे हम लोग समझ रहे हैं, बल्कि उसमें जो अदर्स भी हैं, कुछ वैराइटीज़ लाइक डक्स, गीज, टर्कीज, इवन पिजन, ये सारे का रेयरिंग, caring, feeding and breeding of foals for egg production and chicken meat. Here the two important things in regard to the poultry farming. The number one is here that poultry is the rearing, caring, feeding and breeding of foals for egg production. The first purpose is the egg production and the second is the meat. You will know that the carbohydrate, protein, fats, these are the basic food materials required for the human or mankind, and in this regard there are different sources. We will depend basically on the animal sources for the protein, and that is why these animal sources are very important for obtaining the proteinaceous type of food particles. And that is why here we will get from the poultry farming the two important proteinaceous food particles. The first one is the egg and the second one is the meat. Now, depending upon these two different purposes for poultry farming, the birds divided into the two categories. Those birds which are reared for egg production, that is known as layers, and which are for the meat purpose, that is known as broiler. तो अंडे देने वाले, जिससे हमें अंडे मिलते हैं, उसे लेयर्स कहा जाएगा, और जिस चिकन से हमें, जिस बर्ड से हमें मीट मिलेगा, उसे हम लोग ब्रॉयलर्स कहते हैं. अब देखिए ब्रीड्स जो इंडियन है इसका और जो एक्सोटिक है उस पर एक नज़र देख लें. लुक हियर द इंडियन, दैट मीन्स द इंडिजिनस ब्रीड्स आर दिस. हियर द एग्जांपल एसिल, वर्षा, छत्तीसगढ़. These are the examples for Indian breeds, and the examples for exotic superior breeds like the Leghorn, Rhode, Island Red, and after the cross breeding. But first we look why we should crossbreed, for obtaining the desirable varieties. What are the desirable varieties, are the desirable features which can be achieved by the crossbreeding? What are those features that must be essential to give an idea about those features. Like number one, the main and basic features of any farming we have seen in the cattle farming also, we have even seen in the agriculture production also. Number one main important thing is the high yield and good quality Good quality means here, if we are talking about the sources of the protein, so that means we will get sufficient protein from this product. So that means the high yield and good quality. This is the first and basic and the prime function for any type of farming, like in the poultry farming also, like in the fish production also, and like in the beekeeping also. This one is the first point. The second point is here, large, but there are some specific desirable features also in the case of the cattle, also in case of here we will see, and here we will also see that similar here also. There are some certain specific desirable characters that can be achieved only after the crossbreeding with this superior exotic and when it will cross with the Indian indigenous. The one I have told you, high yield and good quality, this is the basic. The second important thing is the large sized eggs. Large sized egg, this is also desirable features. And number three, like the increased fertility and egg laying capacity. This is the third important part. The first one I have told here, high yield and good quality, and the second one is the large sized eggs. Large sized eggs. So these are the second one, and similarly we will come to the third. Large sized eggs, and the third one I have told you, increased fertility and egg laying capacity. Increased fertility and egg laying capacity. Number 4, if we're talking, that is the low maintenance requirement. Low maintenance requirement. And fifth number, if we're talking, the low diet requirement. Number 6, tolerance to high temperature. That means summer condition. So these are the some, and also the egg layers, in whom we are calling layers. दैट मीन्स अंडा देने वाले जो होते हैं उनका साइज छोटा होना चाहिए. ये सारे चीज़ें जो हैं वो डिज़ायरेबल वैराइटीज़ हैं. अब ये डिज़ायरेबल वैराइटीज़ कैसे प्राप्त होगा? तो एक्सोटिक और इंडिजिनस के बीच में क्रॉस कराने से हमें डिज़ायरेबल वैराइटीज़ प्राप्त होगा. अब वो जो डिज़ायरेबल वैराइटीज़ जो अब तक के है, जो प्राप्त हुआ है, दैट कैन बी अवेलेबल. That is here in the examples I have written, like HH260. This is the result of the crossbreeds, IBL80 and the B77. So these are the some crossbreeds, examples of the crossbreeds. So here we have seen that what are the desirable features or characteristics features for the poultry farming, for which we can only we can achieve this one after cross breeding. So these are the some results. Now the production of eggs and broiler, both the production of eggs and broiler, that means in connection with the poultry farming, we have the two important things, like the during production of egg and the broiler, production of egg layers and broilers, the second important category from where we get meat. There are, in the case of the cattle farming, we have seen that there are several management aspects, like number one, shelter management, number two, nutritional management, number three, disease management. Similarly here also, if we require the good production for both eggs and the meat from the broiler and from the layers, then we must care full regarding their nutritional requirement, regarding their shelter and their disease control measures. And in this context, we may follow the following guidelines. Now we are in the nutritional requirement and the shelter and the disease control management of the poultry farming. Here are some points for you, like during growing period they require sufficient space to avoid overcrowding. Number two, during egg laying period they need enough space and light, which increases the fertility rate. Number three, layers need. Now here there are requirement of the food different for the different varieties, like if we are talking about the layers, their requirement of the food and the requirement of the foods for broilers, both are different. Like when we are talking about the layers, they need vitamins, mineral and micronutrients mainly, and broiler require feed like which are rich in proteins, fats and vitamins A and K. The feed of poultry includes mashed cereals like bajra, wheat, rice bran, maize and groundnut cakes. These are some facts about their nutritional and shelter also, like when in the shelter there is a sufficient space provided, light, enough light required, there is no overcrowding. If there is no arrangement of sanitation, then there will be problem. Regularly they require to spraying the disinfectants, like here disinfectants in their house and in their shelter. That there are some here preventive measures for the protection of the disease, which mainly emphasized and focused on their housing, like number one, proper cleaning and sanitation of their houses, balanced and fresh food and clean water should be given. This is the basic requirement. Spraying of disinfectants at regular intervals and timely and regular vaccination. So these are some management in regard to their nutritional requirement, in their shelter and disease control. Here are the examples, few examples of the main diseases which are found and seen in case of the poultry. Like number one here, bird flu, casual agent is or pathogen is the virus. The symptoms is here fever, influenza, and also there is a shedding of the feathers, also the symptoms. ऐसे भी आप देखेंगे कि जो माने बीमारी इसको अगर किसी प्रकार का होता है इसके पॉपुलेशन में, तो इनके परों का झड़ना ये एक सिम्टम है, परों के झड़ना। और उसके बाद जो है एक और सिम्टम है जो आपके बुक में भी डील किया गया है, वो है कैरकैस, यानी कि वो चलते चलते गिर जाना। पैरालाइज एक अलग चीज़ हुआ, लेकिन वो कैरकैस एक अलग कंडीशन है, एक अलग सिचुएशन है जिसमें वो माने ज़्यादा देर तक खड़ा नहीं रह सकता है, वो चलते चलते गिर जाता है। तो इस तरह के प्रॉब्लम उसको बीमारी के या रोग के समय फेस करना पड़ता है। तो ये दूसरा बीमारी का नाम जो सेकंड डिजीज़ रानीखेत, लॉस ऑफ एपिटाइट, सफोकेशन, पैरालिसिस, ट्यूबरकुलोसिस एंड कोला, बोथ आर caused, the causal agent are the here bacteria, caused by the bacteria, bacterial disease, and here are the some their symptoms. So here the poultry farming. Now after this we will move to the fish production. Now in animal husbandry we are in the third part, cattle farming. After that we have seen poultry farming, and now it is the third part, fish production. Fish is important protein sources, and it is a good and cheap sources of animal proteins. Over half of the population in the developing countries dependent or obtain like near about 40% of its animal protein from fish. That means animal protein and their main sources are the fish. That is why fish production is very important for to need the and to fulfill the demand of the proteinaceous type of food for the human being. Fishes are not only the source of the meat, but their non-edible parts. Their non-edible parts, like their bones, like their waste part, like their bones, like non-edible parts. That means the waste part, like their bones, fins, tails, etc., are used for making fertilizers and the other purpose for to making the adhesives. Oils also obtained from the fish, and that is rich in vitamin D. So these are the some basic economical aspect also, and food value regarding the fish. I have told that the main sources of the animal protein is the food is from the fish, and that is why, and fish is not only provide the meat, but its waste materials, its waste products also giving the some things which are valuable for the which are utilized in the fertilizers and the adhesive, and the oils which are available from the fish are rich in vitamins D. Now look about the fish production. The production of useful aquatic animals like fish, prawns, lobsters, crabs, mollusks, etc., using various type of water resources is called fisheries or the fish production. Here there are two different types of aquatic animals. The first one is the finned fish, like it is the main fish which we are talking mainly, like the pisces, जिसे हम माने ख़ास तौर से मछलियाँ जिसे हम कह रहे हैं, वो इस ग्रुप में आ जाती हैं जो फाइलम कॉर्डाटा का क्लास पाइसेस में है अपना स्थान ग्रहण किए हुए। और दूसरा जो है शेल फिश है, जिसके दूसरे आपको फाइलम में मिलेंगे। प्रॉन्स हैं, उसमें मोलास्क्स हैं एंड इकाइनोडर्माटा है। तो ये इसमें से भी कुछ एक्वेटिक एनिमल्स हैं जो यूज़फुल हैं और जिसे हम लोग फिश प्रोडक्शन में इंक्लूड करते हैं। अब यहाँ पे हम लोग जो बात करते हैं, दैट इज़ द काइंड्स ऑफ फिशरीज. व्हाट आर द काइंड्स ऑफ फिशरीज? तो देयर आर टू डिफरेंट काइंड्स ऑफ फिशरीज. द नंबर वन काइंड ऑफ फिशरीज इज द कैप्चर फिशरीज. दैट मीन्स obtaining fish from natural resources such as oceans, large lakes, rivers. So that is the capture fishery. And the second important is the culture fisheries, the production of fishes using scientific methods are fishes obtained by farming or fish farming is called the culture fisheries. That means if we will कैप्चर, अगर हम मछलियाँ पकड़ने का काम जो है उसके नेचुरल रिसोर्सेज से करते हैं, यानी कि नेचुरल रिसोर्सेज मछलियाँ अवेलेबल हैं, वहाँ पे उसका रेयरिंग, उसका फीडिंग और उसका केयरिंग ये हम नहीं देख रहे हैं, उसको हम फिर अलग इसमें भी हम लोग आएंगे उस पार्ट में, बल्कि वो नेचुरली हम उसको ऑब्टेन कर रहे हैं नेचुरल रिसोर्सेज से, सॉरी नेचुरली ऑब्टेन नहीं बल्कि नेचुरल रिसोर्सेज से उसको ले रहे हैं, पकड़ रहे हैं, मछलियों का पकड़ने का काम कर रहे हैं, तो वो हुआ कैप्चर फिशरीज। और अगर उन्हीं मछलियों में से कुछ मछलियों को अगर साइंटिफिक मेथड के माध्यम से एक नए न्यू मेथोडोलॉजी से अगर हम उसे फार्मिंग कराते हैं, यानी कि उसका प्रोडक्शन कराते हैं, उसका फिशिंग यूजिंग साइंटिफिक मेथड्स और फिशेस आर ऑब्टेन्ड बाय फिश फार्मिंग। अब देखिए यहाँ पे कैप्चर फिशरी, अब इसको नंबर 1 को अगर हम देखें कैप्चर फिशरी, तो कैप्चर फिशरी के दो रिसोर्सेज हैं, दो सोर्सेज हैं, माने इन मछलियों को कहाँ से पकड़ा जाएगा। तो भाई मछलियों को पकड़ने का फिशेस कैन बी डन, फिशरीज कैन बी डन इन बोथ फ्रेश वाटर एंड मैरीन वाटर। अकॉर्डिंगली इट कैन बी डिवाइडेड इनटू फॉलोइंग 2 टाइप्स। अब ये मैरीन वाटर यानी कि समंदर या ओशंस या उसके जो सोर्सेज हैं वहाँ से जो मछलियों का जो प्रोडक्शन है तो वो कहलाया मैरीन फिशरीज, और जो फ्रेश वाटर है जिसमें ब्रैकिश वाटर भी आएंगे जहाँ पे समंदर का और फ्रेश वाटर मिक्स्ड हो जाता है, इनलैंड फिशरीज में वो सारा के सारा आएगा। अब हम लोग देखेंगे, नाउ वी विल लुक अबाउट व्हाट आर द डिफरेंट एस्पेक्ट ऑफ द मैरीन फिशरीज एंड द इनलैंड फिशरीज इन ए वेरी ब्रीफ। नाउ हियर लुक the marine fisheries and the inland fisheries, depending upon the different water sources. Like when we are talking about the marine, that is the seas and oceans, where from the capture fish, that means fishing is done, like the practice of obtaining fish from seas and oceans is called marine fisheries. Deep sea fishing carried out with the introduction of mechanized fishing boat, eco sounders and satellite, as because there is a huge space and within that huge space it is very difficult to locate, although there are big net and mechanized boat available, but although all these facilities are there, but the school of fish, that means the group, जिस माने ग्रुप में जो मछलियाँ रहती हैं उसको स्कूल ऑफ फिश कहा जाता है, तो वो उसको लोकेट करना बहुत डिफ़िकल्ट है, एंड दैट इज़ वाई दिस डिवाइसेस आर यूज टू लोकेट देम एंड देयर आफ्टर इट विल बी कैप्चर्ड. Now there are varieties are also different, as because the marine habitats are different in comparison to the fresh water or brackish water habitats. That's why the different varieties are available in these 2 different water bodies. So here are some examples for the sea marine, and here in case of the inland fisheries, inland fishery deals with the capturing of fish from 2 types of water sources, like the fresh water and brackish water. Brackish water, where the fresh water and the sea water mixed together, that is known as the brackish water. And here the common examples are here given, like the katla, terika, rehu, singara, carp, grass carps, mango, singhi, etc. So these are the some examples here, and here you have also seen the examples like the pomfret, mackerel, tuna, sardines, catfish, Bombay duck, eels, salmon, etc. So these are the, that means when we are talking about the capture fish and fishing, so that means we will be talking about the 2 different sources, marine and the inland fishes. Marine means the seas and the oceans, and the inland means fresh water and the brackish water. Now here one again there is a 2 types. There are several types, like here we have just seen capture fishing is of 2 types, but here you may focus on the word. Here is no capture fishery. Here is the fish farming and culturing of fish, or the fish farming. It means if these two sources of the fish cannot fulfill the demand, that is why there is another practice required, and that is the fish farming or culture. The sources are similar, that freshwater sources and the seawater sources, but the practices are done in a different way. That is why here first you may look the definition. The practices involving the culturing, breeding and feeding for marine and freshwater fishes for their commercial production is called fish farming or culture fishery. And depending upon the sources like the marine and the freshwater, it is of two part. When a large scale commercial purpose, when the fish farming done in the marine water, that is the mariculture, and if it will be done in the fresh water or brackish water, it is known as the aquaculture. So that means the fish farming is of two types. Number one, mariculture. Number two, aquaculture. Now look about the, here one important, here this is not included in your syllabus, only this included, and there are various methods for the aquaculture. Out of those various methods, the one are included in syllabus, that is the composite fish. So here we will talk about that too. There is a, once again may listen carefully, there are two sources, and naturally when there is a capturing of fish from that two natural sources, that is the marine fishes, that is known as marine fishes, inland fishes. But these are not the sufficient enough to fulfill the demand of the fish, and there is no high production obtained. That is why there is a fish farming and fish culture. That means the practices involving the culturing, breeding and feeding for marine and freshwater fishes for their commercial production is called fish farming or culture fishery, which is of two types, the mariculture and the aquaculture. When we will get when we culture the fish in the fresh water, brackish water, that is the aquaculture. It has also the different methods, but out of that methods, one important method is required for you, that is the composite fish culture. Understand? In the last in the present discussion, we have seen that there are, if there is a no requirement of the fish fulfilled by the natural resources of by fishing practice, that is the capture fish, then there are there are one more method, that is the fish farming. And the fish farming is of two types. I have told you that it is only included in your syllabus, that's why I have neglected the mariculture. Here I only just written about the aquaculture, the large scale production of fish and other water animals in freshwater sources are in brackish water is called aquaculture. What are the different species which are to be cultured in this method and in this culture process is that these are the certain examples, few examples here, and there are various methods for this कल्चर practices, that means the aquaculture. बहुत सारे तो ऐसा धान के खेत में भी मछलियों को माने पालन किया जा रहा है, तो समय समय से, और जो सिचुएशंस अवेलेबल होते हैं, जो सर्कमस्टांसेस अवेलेबल होते हैं फार्मर्स के लिए, वो उसका यूटिलाइजेशन करते हैं. लेकिन एक जो मैकेनाइज्ड वे में, एक ऑर्गेनाइज्ड वे में जो ये होता है, वो उसके कई मेथड होते हैं. उनमें से एक इम्पॉर्टेंट मेथड, वन इम्पॉर्टेंट मेथड इज हियर, दैट इज नोन एज कंपोजिट फिश कल्चर, इन विच देयर आर 5 or 6 species of the fish selected and that to be cultured in the same pond, as because their food requirements they fit on differently, and also that food materials will be available in the different zones of the pond, and that is why there is a no competition among themselves for the food, and that is why they develop in a very good manner, they breed in a very good manner. In this method, a combination of 5 or 6 species is kept in a single fish pond. These species are selected so that they do not compete for food among themselves, as they have different types of food habits and they feed on food available in different parts of the pond, in different layers of the pond. Like here I have given here this, that is in a composite fish culture, what are the different level and in what level what are the types of species which may feed, like surface feeders, katla, middle zone feeder, rohu, bottom feeders, marigal, common carps, and in the also in the bottom feed specific feeders like the weed feeders, like the grass carp, aquatic weeds here available in the pond. And this is the, you have seen here one species katla, rohu, marigal, 2, 3, 4 common carps are also one species, and the 5 grass carps. These are the some 5 species are to be cultured in the same pond. It is the last part of our fish production. Now we are in the last part of our today's lesson, that is the beekeeping, which is also known as apiculture. What is apiculture? What is beekeeping? The rearing of honey bees for commercial production of honey, honey wax and their substances is called beekeeping or apiculture. Importance of honey. Honey is a natural sweetening agent and is widely used for its medicinal properties. Beehives are a source of wax which is used for various cosmetics and medicinal properties. So these are the some economical aspect and the importance. Now, what are the breeds? The indigenous breeds here, the Apis cerana indica, that means the Indian breeds, Apis dorsata, Apis florae, and the Italian, the most important breed, as because the maximum extraction of honey from their hive, and they may not sting, and they can stay for a longer period of time in the bee hives, and they can breed. The Apis mellifera. Actually, in the apiculture or the beekeeping, there are 2 or 3 important things very useful. That is, number 1, जो beekeeping का जो सबसे बेसिक जो थिंग्स है कि ऐसे सिलेक्शन, ऐसे ब्रीड का सिलेक्शन जो काटता कम है, स्टिंग कम करता हो, और नंबर 2 जो फैक्टर है, मैक्सिमम हनी जहाँ जो दे सके, प्रोडक्शन कर सके, और तीसरा फैक्ट जो है वो बी हाइव जो उनका अपना घर है जहाँ वो रहते हैं, वहाँ वो अधिक से अधिक समय माने बी का जो है इस रहने का, वहाँ पे अधिक से अधिक वो लॉन्गर पीरियड के लिए वहाँ रह सके, अब ब्रीडिंग उसमें विदाउट एनी हिंड्रेंसेस. तो दीज आर द सम फैक्ट्स रिगार्डिंग देयर इम्प्रूव्ड वैराइटीज़. हम ऐसे इम्प्रूव्ड वैराइटीज़ जो अच्छे जो डिजायरेबल वैराइटीज़ होंगे वो क्या होने चाहिए कि स्टिंग कम हो, काटने के नहीं ज़्यादा काटे, ज़्यादा देर तक वो बी हाइव में रह सके, मैक्सिमम एक्सट्रैक्शन हो सके, हनी ज़्यादा निकाला जा सके, प्रोडक्शन किया जा सके, और जो है ब्रीडिंग प्रोसेस अच्छा से हो. तो ये सारी चीज़ें जो हैं, ये सारे प्रॉपर्टीज़ जो हैं, दीज आर द प्रॉपर्टीज़ विच आर may available in the improved varieties. Now, very interesting fact is here. they actually live in a colony of honeybees, and in a colony or in the apiculture, in the apiculture process, may you see that within the within the beehives, they are present, and their members are very social. That's why they are known as the social insect. Why? As because their family members very coordinating manner work together and perform their functions efficiently, and there is a leadership is also there, that is the queen, and that is why depending on the work and the labor, they have the entire family members divisible into the 3 different categories. Number 1 queen, number 2 drones, number 3 workers. Number 1 queen, number 2 drones, and number 3 workers. What are the nature of queen? Functional female. That means why it is known as the functional, as because they lay eggs per day. 1000 eggs they can able to lay, and the larger in size. Out of these 3 categories, this one is the larger in size. Lifespan up to 3 years. Queen bee feeds on royal jelly. This is the ingredients for their feeding materials. And here is the second category in their family, that is the male bees, which is known as drones. Its lifespan is 5 weeks. The main function, what is its main function? To mate with queen. क्वीन के साथ इसका रिप्रोडक्शन होना, ये इसका मेन फंक्शन, मेल पार्टनर ऑफ द क्वीन. द थर्ड इम्पॉर्टेंट मेंबर जो है इस फैमिली का, वो कहलाएगा वर्कर्स, और ये सबसे छोटे साइज का होता है, जो स्टेराइल फीमेल होता है, मगर ये बहुत सारे वर्क को दे परफॉर्म ए वैरायटी ऑफ वर्क, एंड दे मे work like that, sucking nectar, collecting pollens, protecting the hive or colony, and they may live up to 3 to 12 months. उनका लाइफ स्पेन जो है 3 से 12 महीने तक ये जीवित रह सकते हैं. तो these are the very important and interesting fact that depending on the division of labor, the members of the bees can be classified into 3 categories: queen, drones, workers. And the importance which you have seen here, there are some other importance aspect of the bee keeping and the different types of substances which may you see here, that will be also given you. Here is a brief idea about the 2 important products of bees. Like number 1, honey. It is the main purpose for bee keeping, that means apiculture. What are its importance? What is this? This is the sweetest. You will know that no any other thing is as sweet as honey. Understand? That is why it is very important, and it contains water also, minerals, vitamins, enzymes. It has antibacterial abilities. It is used in making of medicines, widely used in making of Ayurvedic medicines. Ayurvedic medicines. No any Ayurvedic medicines without the composition of the honey, and may also used in the cake making and biscuits. It is also used as blood purifier. So this is the importance of the one important main product of the bees. And the second important, it is used by honey bees in the making of bee hive, used in face cream, paints, insulators, ointments, polishes and candles. ये तो इसके 2 प्रोडक्ट हो गए, है ना, नंबर 1 ये, नंबर 2. अब इसके बाद और others things, chemical substances, other things which you have seen, whether it is the food materials for the queen or for the drone or for the workers. Here there is a short description like the royal jelly. It is a powerful milky substance made of digested pollen and honey or nectar mixed with a chemical secreted from a gland of worker bee's head, that is known as royal jelly. It is the food supplement for the queen. You have seen in the description. It is also the stimulator, that is the it acts as a stimulator. What stimulator? Fertility stimulators. And the next here is the pollens. Pollens is the male germ cell, high proteinaceous, understand, and it has other food, other things, vitamins, carbohydrate, and fats, and other all the very much highly food value it has, understand. That's why in the beehive you may see that this is also a food sources for the bees. Like pollen is the male germ cell, it acts as a germ cell. From here there is a production of male gamete. And the nectar, the sweet liquid that bees collect from flowers to make honey, it is known as nectar. These are some terminologies which are essential in regard to the beekeeping. That's why I have given you in a very brief manner. Pasturage, flowers available for nectar and pollen collection is termed as pasturage. A very brief idea required for your syllabus, and it is the last part of our chapter number 15.